Thank you, everyone. This is the first EBS Town Hall of the year 2023, and we are very happy about it. There was a team who put a lot of effort to make this happen. So I hope you all like what you see today. And yeah, and we appreciate your comments or feedback, your questions in the chat. So we can pass now to the first slide where we can take a look at some of the topics we'll be presenting today. We'll start with a quick introduction by Yonghwa, then we will jump to the EBS vision, some of the main capabilities of EBS. We'll take a look at the development cycle, how it's coming along for this year. For the next milestones, we will release and deploy. Then we'll take a look at our adoption and sustainability model for EBS that starts this year and will go beyond 23. Stakeholders, we have many, so we asked a couple of them to share their views, their testimonials about how they see EBS now in their centers, working with the programs. So we take a look at some of them as well. Then we'll have the closing remarks with Sharifa. And time permitting, we will have a couple questions answered live during the session. But please don't be shy. You can send all your questions in the chat. The ones we are not able to respond or to answer today, we will be doing that in an activity post town hall. And then we will wrap up the town hall. Hopefully 15 minutes will be enough for that. The morning, for us here in Mexico, the morning session, we were able to finish at 53 minutes, and some people, actually most of people, wanted to stay a little bit longer until complete the hour for some questions and answers. So we might be able to do that today as well in this session. Some very quick general guidelines. As I said, we welcome your questions. Please send them as you wish. We will share the material that we'll be presenting today to you, the slide deck, the videos that are going to share, the links, and etc. So you don't need to worry about taking notes or screenshots. And here is the moderation team. For those who don't know me yet, I'm Andre. I'm the EBS program manager. Sophie, she was in the previous session. She's in Sweden, so it's like 4 in the morning for her. She couldn't be here with us, but she worked very hard to make this happen. And in the previous session, she was present with us. And Sam, our corporate communications advisor, who is here with us again for the second time. Thank you, Sam. And we are the moderation team. So we can go now to the next slide, please, with the opening words by Dr. Yonghwa.
Okay, thank you very much, Andre. Hello, everyone. Oh, and just to, I'll also be doing Sharifa's section at the end. We were just chatting actually an hour ago, just to warn you guys. Okay, so thank you everyone for attending the EBS Town Hall. My name is Yonghwa Lee. I was formerly the Module 5 Breeding Informatics lead, and now I lead the Breeding Resources Initiative in CGIAR. So in my section, I wanted to kind of back out. You'll hear a lot about sort of the technical achievements and more about the process achievements and adoption achievements in the remainder of the town hall. But what I wanted to do in my section is kind of back out and talk about what EBS, what I think one of the things that really distinguishes enterprise breeding system is how it is kind of embedded and really a huge part of our strategy for sustainable data management in CGIAR. So breeders need long-tained, sustainable, dependable data management for their operations and decisions. And this word sustainable is something that comes up a lot these days when we talk about our operations. It's a goal that we all have, and it's being kind of newly emphasized as we're building out 1CG and working on new proposals and things like that. And like a sustainable operation it's not just about making sure that there's like a flow of money. Of course, that's like a fundamental requirement, but having a sustainable operation, data management, a sustainable data management operation is part of a system of things that we put together. And I think some of the things that I want to point out as what really makes EBS, I think, a strong long-term bet for your breeding program is how all of these pieces are being built up together in the context of one CGIAR. So enterprise breeding system is embedded in genetic innovations, institutions, and strategy. And we'll talk a bit more about how that is in Sharifa's section later. The EBS and its process in guiding the users, guiding the development process and development prioritization, like that is now a really established process for how we have feedback between the users and the IT staff. The features that we are, this kind of process thinking has really informed the features that we put into place. Instead of putting into place a single, single features one by one, we're thinking in terms of enabling whole workflows. And you'll see a little bit of that in the new features that are being released in milestone 6 with genotyping, for instance. And finally, we are developing EBS and its associated processes with the idea that in the near future, in the near to medium future, the data management systems and breeding IT will have to enable scaling to support network breeding. These are inherently, it's a bigger data management problem than we're used to. When in the past we're supporting breeding programs individually, and the way that we're building EBS and thinking about maintaining EBS is we have this network breeding future like squarely in mind. And finally, one of the achievements we have is a globally distributed help desk, so that you have during your business hours, no matter where you are, wherever EBS is operational, you have someone that you can reach to help you get past the day-to-day questions and barriers. So all of these things, like these are all pieces that really form a sustainable system. And I think that I hope that it'll become clear over the course of the coming year how EBS can be, not just a new technology for you, but part of really setting up your breeding operations to be sustainable. Okay, so that is my intro, and I'll give it back to you, Andre.
Thanks a lot, Yonghua. Well, that's I think these points mentioned by Yonghua were also embedded in our team when we developed the new EBS vision, which we'll see in the next slide, please. We worked in a way that we also considered the ultimate goal, that is bringing more food to the people who need it, and that must be always the mindset, right? We need to be very careful when we make the decisions, and that's part of our mindset in the EBS team. So that's why we came up with this brand new vision that we are sharing for the very first time here in this town hall. EBS is the software accelerating development of crops for global food security. So nothing could be more noble than that. And I guess everyone in the team, I feel that from the entire team, they are very proud of what they are doing, what they are delivering. And I hope that from previous experiences, the users, they feel the same way. I hope the next users, the new adopters, will also feel the same way as we do. In the next slide, we can now take a look at the capabilities, some of the main capabilities of EBS.
The enterprise breeding system.
Sorry.
The
we'll take a look at
Enterprise
the
Breeding
video first.
System, software to accelerate the development of crops for global food security. The EBS was created alongside crop breeders to support all activities in a normal breeding cycle for multiple crops and breeding programs around the world. Starting with core breeding activities, managing germplasm, trials and nurseries, capturing data and phenotyping, making crosses, selections and advancements, managing your inventory and sharing materials between teams. From there you can connect with internal and external services such as genotypic, quality and phytosanitary analyses. Handling and tracking requests is made easy with the EBS. All the data generated by the breeding program is available in one place to connect with powerful analytics and decision support tools. Core system features such as messaging allow for collaboration within and across teams, centers and programs, print functions to generate reports, rapid search and list management to speed up workflows. By adopting open programming interfaces, the EBS even integrates seamlessly with common tools such as Fieldbook. In this way, the EBS enables the next generation of enhanced predictive breeding programs within CGIAR and beyond. It puts an end to paper records and spreadsheets, allowing scientists to spend less time on data management and more on leveraging data to create improved varieties. This will lead to more informed advancement decisions, better and more reliable on-farm outcomes, increased genetic gains, and continuous optimization of breeding programs. It also provides a standard process and terminology for breeding across CGIAR. The EBS team is integrated with the CGIAR Breeding Resources Initiative, providing efficient support to users and continually developing new features based on feedback. They have created the EBS as a cloud-based, platform-as-a-service, cost-effective for both small and large breeding programs, and scalable to the amount of work being done. For more information, get in touch.
Thanks, Sam. And as you could see from this very quick teaser, there are so many things that you can do using the system, but you can only by using it you can feel all the effort that our team has been putting on it in this last year. So I can watch this video over and over again. I think I watch it a dozen times. I can't get enough of it. I really like it. So this is the quick I mean, just a set of the main capabilities that we have with EBS right now. So for as we heard from Yonghwa and from the video, we work to enable efficient data production and manage different types of experiments, from crossing to field trials, end-to-end workflow. So all of that is included. All those breeding processes are included in those workflows, and these are just a few of them. And of course, as it said in the video, powerful breeding analytics tools that is coming. We know we have much more to come in the next two milestones this year. And one thing that we also always like to highlight is how this development, how everything that we do is take into account the participation of our teams, of our users. We have multiple network channels to bring feedback into the development. So that's also a great part of the work that is done in EBS. Next slide, please. Now we will hear from Marco Karkainen, the EBS product lead. Marco.
Hey everybody, from my behalf, nice to have so many people join us, 73 as I'm looking at it right now. So as you probably all know, EBS is not a new project. We started way back. Back in the day in 2021, we started to manage our project using the blueprint. And the blueprint stated where we were back in the day and where we want to be. And then we are building through milestones those capabilities that enables the digitalization of the breeding processes. So up until today, We have released the milestone 5 last July, and are just about to release the milestone 6. And it provides new capabilities, which will be then reviewed or shown in the videos later on. And after that, immediately, actually, we have already started the milestone 7 planning to really iron out that what are the capabilities and functionalities that the breeding programs and the service teams need in their operations. And that will be then released in the later part of the year. Next milestone slide, please. So, like I mentioned, we planned milestone 6 last year, just after the milestone 5 was released. So we went to Mexico within the team. It seems we have a nice picture about that. It was very, very bright day, and it was actually quite horrible experience. But anyway, there's the picture. So we met with subject matter experts and business change managers that provide the expertise on breeding aspects to our team, and agreed on a milestone plan that these are the capabilities and functionalities that will be developed and delivered in February. And like mentioned, now we are working on initial plans for milestone 7, and we will review them with all the subject matter experts that are in our networks, and at the end of the day with the business change managers that will provide the final prioritization for us so that we know what needs to be done. Along the way, of course, we have quite well-organized processes in our team. We do believe in continuous improvement and in all aspects of our operations. And the continuous feedback loop from the users is very, very important part of the exercise. In practice, it means that when and if these new capabilities and functionalities are adopted, we truly want the users to provide us feedback to how well we captured their requirements, how well these functionalities actually work in their operations, so that we can learn from it and then make better plans and improvements along the way. I think that was my last slide.
That's right, Marco. Thank you very much. Now we can play the other video we have, which will show the new, what's happening in the milestone 6 with the milestone 6 release. It will present some of the main capabilities, and we'll take a break in the middle of the video, see if anyone would like to ask any questions, and then we can move to the second half of the video.
New tools have also been developed in the core breeding domain for milestone 6. Plus, users will be able to enjoy new and improved features in existing tools. One key new feature in the experiment creation tool are cross patterns. When breeding teams are making crosses with parents that are repeated several times, such as in the case of making hybrid test crosses in maize, they often want to plant the repeated parent multiple times throughout the field to support many crosses. Now users can choose from 2 popular cross patterns when they are making their nurseries to efficiently define their crosses and the planting arrangement of their parents in a single step. After users create their experiments in the EBS, they will be able to turn to the Planting Instructions Manager tool to support seed packing processes. This tool tracks seed quantities when seeds for planting are removed from source inventory items. And it also provides an important opportunity for users to make substitutions for germplasm when necessary in a controlled and traceable manner, so that the right materials get planted and the correct germplasm information is available for analysis in every plot. Once users initiate their experiments, they can continue to monitor and add additional data to their occurrences throughout the season using the Experiment Manager tool. Breeding teams can also now use this tool to add new occurrences to their experiments if they have the opportunity to plant in another site after they have completed their initial experimental setup. Plus, breeding teams can now share specific occurrences to registered collaborators directly within the EBS. These collaborators can then capture the data and load it directly back to the EBS to enable efficient data sharing within breeding networks. Data curation tools have also been enhanced for milestone 6. Users can now clearly see data points that are out of range at the moment that the data are uploaded. Plus, they can directly update any errors in the collected data directly in the data terminal before the data are committed to the database. This provides a first level of quality control as data are uploaded throughout the season, but another level of pre-analysis data curation is also under development in the Phenotypic Data Manager tool. It will be released for review and feedback under Milestone 6. Manager continued to implement new use cases to support the basic harvest processes required by rice, maize, and wheat breeding programs. After teams have harvested their seed, the new Inventory Manager tool enables admin users to update information about seed quantities and their storage location. And in February, all users will be able to easily share seed between breeding teams while maintaining full traceability of their materials through an internal seed transfer process. New printing functionalities are also now available within the application. Crop improvement teams need to print tags, labels, envelopes, and reports throughout the season. Customized templates made by trained EBS users, Printout Manager tool, available to support printing activities in many core breeding programs, such as Experiment Manager, Planting Instructions Manager, and Harvest Manager. Wherever users see the printout icon, they can select the desired template and export the information that they need.
Thank you. This is the point where we take a quick break. Maybe we are doing really well about the time, so we can take the quick pause. And are there any questions, or maybe we have time for one question before we move to the next domains and part of the video? If not, okay. Okay, I don't see any hands up or any questions in the chat, so I guess we can move on to the next video, please. Thanks, Dan.
I will be presenting the highlights for the different capabilities developed by Breeding Analytics for Milestone 6. For statistical design model, the BA team enabled the uploading of design generated outside EBS. The team implemented the different validation rules for designs currently available in the system. Through experiment creation, user may now upload design for RCBD, augmented RCBD, and PREP design. Short description of the design can now be displayed in the UI. A new tool has been developed this milestone in BA called the Phenotypic Data Manager, or PDM, which can be accessed via Experiment Manager. User need to choose an occurrence with trait data or with the status trait data collected. The PDM is an exploratory data analysis tool that will allow users to assess the raw phenotypic data before running the desired analysis. The tool provides the calculation of simple statistics, viewing of the uploaded raw phenotypic data, detect possible outliers, suppress data points. We will be enabling the integration of PDM with Analysis Request Manager, or ARM. For ARM, user can choose one or more experiment for analysis, and user can request for multi-experiment analysis. For this milestone, user can see all the numeric traits collected for the chosen occurrence or occurrences. Note that in previous milestone, only common continuous trait will be displayed in this drop-down box, and only traits common across occurrences are listed in the previous milestone. Request name has been improved so that it will be more readable to the user.
One of the notable accomplishments of Milestone 6 has been work on the development of a complete genotyping workflow. In the service management domain, users can now initiate genotyping service requests. To do that, they can start by creating a service request by choosing a list of plots or packages that they have created in core breeding. They can then go on to provide basic information about the request and who is responsible for the request. And then they can go on to provide additional details about the service that they would like performed. Once they have submitted this, the lab is able to log into the Genotyping Service Manager and see all of the requests that have been submitted. Once they approve the requests, they can then use them to generate a genotyping batch composed of one or more requests. When they're setting up their batch, they are able to specify additional details about the technology that will be used and the markers that should be included in the assay. They then go on to generate their plate layout, to set up their controls, and to generate their sample IDs. Once they have done this, the forms that they need to send to the vendor should be ready to download from Batch Manager. Once the results are obtained from the vendor, they can be easily uploaded to the GIGWA database. These files are then available for lab members to download, and they also become available for the users who submitted the request in the Requests Manager.
Thanks, Sam, and thank you very much, Kate and Elaine, for the voiceover. You did an excellent job there. Thank you again. We now can move on to the next topic, which will be adoption and sustainability model of EBS. We will hear from Edie Paul, our EBS change and adoption lead, and after that from James Clevenger, our EBS engineering lead. So Edie.
Thank you, Andre. So as Andre said, my name is Edie Paul, and I'm the lead for the adoption and change team. So the EBS current user base consists of about 500 registered users, over 200 regular users, and these users are spread at 4 different CG centers, including Erie, CIMMYT, IITA, and Africa Rice. They encompass 5 different breeding programs, which include maize, rice, and wheat. And Icarta Wheat, we've started working with them. They are starting the adoption process now. And IITA cowpea and soybean are planned for 2023. So as the graph on the right shows, we're having a nice steady increase both in the number of users and the number of breeding teams that are using EBS. Next slide, please. So for those of you who are already EBS users, I thought I would give some highlights that we saw in 2022. So Erie transitioned pretty much overnight from their old system to EBS, and they have been running most of their production breeding operations entirely with EBS since about April. Africa Rice was able to fully transition from their legacy systems to be entirely on EBS in less than a year. The progress that IITA maize program has made is leading to the adoption by their cowpea and soybean programs in 2023. And CIMMYT has programs adopting certainly in Mexico, but then around the globe in Turkey, Kenya, India, and Zimbabwe. And since about April, we've had over 700 participants that have attended some kind of training so far for EBS. And we have some nice quotes on there from some of the people who did attend the training. Next slide, please. We also, as Younghwa mentioned, have established a global support desk. So we have agents in 5 countries spread on 3 continents. And together they provide about 120 hours of coverage each week. So Monday through Friday, business hours, wherever you are, there should be somebody manning the help desk. And since May, they've processed over 1,000 tickets. And at this point, they have a 4.9 out of 5-star rating. So very good service. Next slide, please. So starting in April, we've been tracking different metrics on usage of the EBS. And these charts are showing combined usage across those 5 breeding programs. So since April, the breeding programs have created over 1,100 experiments that have been planted in 2,400 different occurrences. We've generated 500,000 seed packages, collected 2.4 million phenotypic data points, Next slide, please. Created 340,000 new germplasm entries and 18,000 crosses. So very impressive. Next slide, please. So for those of you who aren't current EBS users and are interested, we're very interested to hear from you and to work with you. And the screenshot on the right-hand side is a snapshot of the support desk portal. And you'll notice at the very bottom, there's a new entry there for adoption inquiries. So if you'd like to learn more, you can come to our support desk. The link is at the bottom there, and make an inquiry through this. If you just have a general question, can EBS do this or that? You can use the top question link. But please, we'd love to hear from you. So we are keeping an inventory of programs that have expressed an interest. And this pipeline already includes several legume programs and several NARS partners. And the process will generally start with one or more introductory meetings where we try to learn more about your program, your needs, how much data you have, how are you currently managing it. And then we can share information and probably some more in-depth demos with you about what EBS can do. I do want to point out that adoption takes resources on both sides, from our side and also from your side. So we need to make sure that the appropriate resources are in place so that the adoption process is smooth and efficient. And our support team is developing guidelines and a checklist for pre-adoption activities. So things that you can do ahead of time that will make adoption easier. And with that, I think I will hand it over to James.
Thank you, Edie. Hello, I'm James Clevenger, EBS Engineering Lead. As you have seen, there have been many new and exciting features added to EBS. I'd like to tell you about some changes that are behind the scenes. EBS users won't directly notice these changes, but they will be impactful to how we operate EBS. The first change is delivering EBS as a service. Presently, we collaborate with our partners at Summit and Erie, the KMIT and IKS teams to acquire compute resources. This approach will not scale well as we deploy to more and more centers, especially for centers without local IT operations group. EBS as a service means no setup or operational activities are required from the adopting centers. Another behind-the-scenes feature is dynamic scaling. This feature means that we can automatically have more compute resources assigned to EBS when the system gets busy. Conversely, fewer compute resources will be assigned during idle times. Next slide, please. So we made these changes. What's in it for you? The behind-the-scenes changes have benefits even if they aren't noticeable in the application. EBS as a service will help us have a streamlined process for onboarding new centers. Our scaling changes will allow us to deliver a consistent performance at a lower overall cost. The end result will be an easier path for adoption, better overall performance, and a lower cost. This updated version will be available as part of the Milestone 6 release. Thank you for your interest, and I will turn it back over to you, Andre.
Thanks a lot, James. Well, we need to continue, and as the next topic, we will present some of the testimonials I mentioned in the opening from some of our friends in Africa Rice and also from Erie. So we can move on to the next slide, please, and play the first video.
Hello, good day to you all. I'm Hans Bhardwaj and I lead the Rice Breeding Innovations platform at the International Rice Research Institute. We at Erie are fully committed to modernizing our breeding programs with the goal of developing and delivering better products, varieties or hybrids, faster to the farmers and consumers. Adopting and using EBS as a research data and information management platform has been one of the important steps in achieving that goal. I would like to take this opportunity to share with you the current state of deployment and also speak about some of the experiences we have gained in using the EBS. ERI was the first CG center to adopt the EBS, and it is starting to be embedded in our day-to-day breeding operations. According to the most recent survey by the EBS team, ERI was found to be the CGIAR center with the highest level of engagement. 70% of the ERI's EBS users indicated that they use the system very often in their everyday workflow, and about 79% of them have expressed full satisfaction with the EBS tools. Most importantly, a great majority, about 90% of them, consider this as an essential tool for doing their jobs. The survey outcomes show that at institutional level, we clearly recognize the value and gain in efficiencies in adopting the system. While this is very encouraging, we must not rest on our laurels. Our goal is to scale up its adoption so that more and more users will gain from it. To achieve this, we intend to do the following. Number one, promote positive experiences, find more ways to fulfill the user's needs, and as well prioritize building the capacity of our users by developing and providing effective training materials and making it accessible. We should also keep on improving the system through its interface and functionalities based on users' feedback. Lastly, we can increase our engagement by speeding up the process of diagnosis and troubleshooting system errors. We have full faith in the EBS team. They have the necessary experience and understanding and are very capable to address any areas of improvement in the EBS system. With this, I would like to reiterate that ERI will continue to prioritize the EBS adoption. Our goal at ERI and broadly at CGIAR is to become completely a data-driven decision-making research organization. But we can only accomplish this if all the CGIAR centers embrace initiatives like EBS. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hans. I really appreciate this contribution from you and from the ERI team. Now we can move to the next video from Africa Right team.
EBS is an all-in-one system that includes a very useful tool for crossing, advancing nursery, and trialing. So with the system, we more easily manage our process, our germplasm, which let's say our experiment with very consistent trial design and planting protocol, management protocol, and also harvesting protocol. Then we are able to upload back the data collected using Facebook application into the system.
Trial designing and management was quite simpler and fast in EBS system for our team, and very much looking forward to see all rice research related research data at one platform from different institutions. I think that's going to help. That's going to fast track the breeding decisions within CGIAR. So we're looking forward to it, and I think it will be good to quickly train different NARs that are partnering with us in Africa on EBS system.
After trial creation, new data is automatically loaded into the system as it is generated. System data and analysis are used, and it drives our breeding decision, so that will improve our work in Madagascar to get new potential varieties quickly.
So the EBS presently at Africa Rice, we are using it for the management of all our breeding data, starting from the breeding nurseries all the way to our trials, and also up to the data collection in the field, but also even including the seed storage and seed dispatch also. So definitely it has been a very, very welcome experience for us to have this migration of our breeding data, and data management itself entirely from BMS and other systems to EBS. So what we are looking forward now is to the next stage of the migration. That means to have the NAS also trained and also to have the NAS breeding data migrated and also integrated into the Africa Rice breeding database. Definitely that will give us a better capacity to develop superior rice varieties that are better adapted to farmers' conditions and also to the market preferences.
Thank you very much, people from Africa Rice, Michelle, Vimo, Obin, and Babuka. Thank you for sharing your videos with us. Now we can pass the word back to Yonghua. She will do the closing remarks on behalf of Sharifa.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. So in this last section, Sharifa was going to talk to you about how EBS is embedded into the institutions that we are setting up in one CGIAR. So as you may know, EBS, the project EBS is now a part of whoops, can you go back? Sorry. Of the Breeding Resources Initiative. And hopefully you've seen this slide before in previous talks about the initiative. Next slide, please. Where we have in the past year taken the 5 work packages that are a part of Breeding Resources, and EBS specifically and data management falls into work package number 4, smarter use of more data. And all of the various projects that were a part of the initiative have been organized and integrated into the new department in genetic innovations called Breeding Research Services. And this is the department that is led by Sharifa, the senior director. Okay, and in Breeding Research Services, we have 4 units. And one of those units is breeding information systems. This is essentially the new breeding IT unit for one CGIAR. And this is the unit where EBS development, maintenance, deployment, and such activities will have a permanent home going forward. Next, please. Okay. So this is a little bit of more detail about the 4 units that comprise Breeding Research Services. It's kind of divided up such that we have the first thing on the left, Global Services, is just like what it says. It's various kinds of services related to either trialing and nursery or lab services like genotyping or nutritional testing or breeding analytics like biometrics, quantitative genetics, and so forth. So these services are all going to be supported by the 3 other units on the right. So operations enhancement is the unit where we will have all the sort of process and change management support staff that will help set up the services and maintain it. Breeding information system is the IT support service. And so in addition to, it's not just that they will support software like EBS, it's that they will make sure that the software that we set up here is suited to supporting the running of services like the ones on the left. And finally, the capacity building unit will house staff that will support the coordination and harmonization of different capacity building and training curricula. Okay, next slide, please. And so this is a slide from, yes, thank you. So this is a slide from the last GI town hall in 2023. So in 2022. So the last slide in that town hall And Sonia laid out what were the major priorities for 2023. And of those priorities are critically among those priorities are breeding information systems. So one of the major things that is on the plate of GI management this year is really making some progress on the long-term strategy for data management and the sustainability of making sure enterprise breeding system remains and is built into the breeding data management system that can serve your needs, not next year and 2 years later, but for the next 10 years, that it becomes the next major system for supporting data management in CGIAR. All right. I think that's the last one.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Yonghwa. Well, this is the final slide that we present tonight or today. Well, it was a very quick presentation. We managed to complete it in 48 minutes. That's great. But all the amount of effort and work that people put into that to make this happen was huge. So some of these people are here, and I'd like to thank you all for everything that you did to make it possible. And we are here also sharing the link to the short feedback form. We would like to hear from you. Your impression, your suggestion for the next town house. So you will receive, as I said, we receive the material after we finish here throughout the next day or a couple of days. Then you can please submit your feedback to that quick survey. And we do have maybe time for one or two questions if there are any. So now is a good time for that. If anybody wants to raise something, make any comments. Okay, we have one. Sorry, go ahead, Yonghwa.
I just said there's a question in the chat.
Yeah, there is one from Maria Raveshi, and there is a question: is NAR's adoption of EBS part of the next milestones? Who would like to take that one? Edie?
Sure. Certainly, we would like to start working with you and gathering more information. There's no reason that you couldn't start adopting with milestone 6. So send your contact information and we can set up some meetings. Marco, I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
No, pretty much like that. I mean, the capabilities are there, they are available. And if there are interested parties that want to adopt them, the more the merrier, of course.
Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Edie. Yeah, it's worth mentioning that the adoption is not necessarily part of a milestone. The milestones, they are more focused on the release of new improved capabilities, more on the technical side. So adoption can occur throughout the year, so to speak. But we appreciate your contact with more information because, as presented by Edie, there are some prerequisites that need to be discussed, availability of resources and so on. But yeah, the more the merrier. We will be glad to start working with you. And thanks for your question, Maria. Okay. Well, we are 1 minute after the end of the time we planned for this event, which I believe was very successful. Seeing that we were able to cover everything without rushing, and I really appreciate everyone joining us today. So please, if you want also to sign up for our newsletter, you will receive the link for that too. Then you can stay